Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk about everything that's going on at the moment with the virus and the changes, and I really do feel like a lot of people out there are feeling like they have lost their power. You know, they've lost control of the situation over, you know, the future, our health, finances, all of this kind of stuff that's really swirling around at the moment. Anyway, so the topic of the video today is not necessarily about loss of control, it's about taking the power back, right? So what I did is a few things, right? So at first, I fell into the, oh my gosh, this is so stressful, I'm so scared, you know, which is, I think, a pretty normal thing to think. And some people go through that process later. Some people don't at all because they're super tough and they, I don't know, don't have issues with it, I suppose. Who are you? Tell me your secret. Anyway, so what I'm talking about is, how can we do that when we have fears, when we don't know what's going on? For me, one of my concerns was the fact that I smoke cigarettes, right? Another was that I don't always have the cleanest house. Sometimes, you know, it's pretty dusty, and with this virus, you know, dust is probably not the best thing. So what I started to do is I started to declutter. I started to use my time so that I could create some achievement, some what's the opposite of confusion? You know, it's being organized, it's routine, it's clarity, right? And I think that once we have some kind of structure and some kind of organization and some achievement under our belt, that really does help with the issues that are going on in the outside world that we have no control over, because we're controlling the little world within, which is our world, right? Everybody knows we've all probably spent a bit too much time in our world lately. Anyway, so what I've been doing is I've been doing some of the things that I said that I wasn't, you know, I didn't have the time to do when I was working. Been cooking meals. I was doing the little microwave meals and doing takeout for ages. So I've been cooking. I quit smoking 12 days ago. I have had a few cigarettes in the middle of that, but I've been good for the last like 4 days, so that's really good. I've been using, this is something that we got to look at when we're quitting, right, or when we're trying to change something big, is the rituals. So ritual is, for instance, every morning I would get up and I would jump in the car and I would have my cuppa and I would have a cigarette on my way to work. And between jobs, have a cigarette. When I got home, tea, cigarette. So one of the things about the change of environment at the moment, we're not leaving the house. Well, some of us are still attending work and stuff, but those, you know, whose environment has changed, maybe they associate drinking with smoking and they're trying to give up smoking. Maybe they associate social parties with binging, eating too much, gorging, you know. So it's something that if you have a change of environment, it's an opportunity. Yes, you might be scared and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, and you might not want to, and that's okay too. That's okay too. You know, just try and do something that makes you feel like everything's not so hard, everything's not so bad. Maybe that's chilling out and watching that series on the television that you weren't able to because you were too busy working all the time. So I've had to break down some of my rituals, understand what they are, why I do them. Boredom, you know, doing something with my mouth, it's in my hands, it's another one. So I've been, I think I just said, or maybe I didn't, I've been using Werther's, so substituting is another thing, right? So when we're trying to change a bad behavior, like we're trying to no longer mess up the table, we've got to remind ourselves every time we go to put stuff on that table, if I put stuff on the table right now, it's gonna end up, because once you put one thing on the table magically says put everything on me, and then all of a sudden there's just stuff everywhere. And that's kind of what happens when you live in a house where there's no storage, there's no place for anything. Everything goes on the table. So as I'm looking at the table right now, I'm like, we need to clean that table again. I seriously cleaned it like a day or two ago. Like, it was perfect, it was spotless, and now it's anyway, so what I'm getting at is, you would substitute it. You would find another spot for the junk, or go through the junk. I mean, removing the obstacle, removing it, going through the junk, so that you don't have to put it somewhere else, is probably the best option. But sometimes we can't do that. And for me, I have a really small house, so it's not like there's a magical another spot for it. There's nothing. I really do have to go through some more stuff in the lounge room, though. I'm going to get a taller bookcase, so that's something. Engineering, right? These are all workplace health and safety terms that I have molded into my own mental health kind of terms, and I really enjoy them. I think they work really well. So if you see a space and you're stressed about the clutter, or you're stressed that there's not a space for whatever it is, well then how can you fix that? And so I've looked at it, I've gone, okay, well, there's height, but there's not width. So we need a tall bookcase that we can stack stuff in, and then I can have a computer desk again instead of just a pile of stuff with a laptop. can't access it. It's just so this is something, right? There's all these stresses that happen at home that you don't often see if you're out of the house, right? Because you're not looking at them. I'm sitting there every single day and I'm staring at my clutter piles, and I'm like, there's 2 or 3 clutter piles in this house that I just think, oh, they're really bad. Like, that's where the traffic goes, and that's where the stuff goes. And I did get a new TV cabinet, which got rid of a lot of the junk that was underneath the TV cabinet, because I was able to put it in drawers and organize it. And that is really what happens when we have extra time. We either go out of routine or we fall into one. And so this is what I've been doing, changing the routines that I've got going on. My sleeping pattern has gotten out of whack, so I've got to put that back into order, because now I'm homeschooling my daughter. So we were doing some documentary stuff on animals and stuff yesterday, and so now she's got a report on to do an animal, which I thought was just perfect. It was perfect timing. So yes, guys, if you can make something easier for your life, it's going to help your life. Like, for instance, access. I'm getting a bookcase for my daughter's room too, a tall one, so that we can put her toys and her books on it, so that we have access to her books, because the bookcase that she has is like one of those little foam kind of ones, and you can put books in it, but you can also put school clothes in it, and it's just, there's not enough space to put all her books in it. So you know, that's what we've got to do, guys. We've got to look at our life, we've got to engineer it, we've got to try and figure out what's going to make us happy, break it down. And that's what I've been doing. And another thing you can do is write little lists to congratulate yourself. So I have a calendar, and my calendar has I'll show you guys. I'll just show you guys. Okay. So my calendar has just little, I hope you can see that. So every day it's just got 0 cigs. So that every day I can kind of, and I can punish myself, kind of, not, you know, badly, but when I look at that, I see on the 12th I had 3 cigarettes, and I know that that day I had a stressful day. I had a little bit of a, I don't want to be trapped inside day. And that happens, but I also have to hold myself accountable, because when we're making changes, it's not easy. We've got to continually come back and say, how are we doing with this? Have we made changes? Is this positive? I'm looking at the 2 loads that I took to the dump, and I'm thinking, yes, this is so good. And my neighbour has, oh, she's done such a wonderful job on the yards, and the place looks so nice, really does. And I just need to spruce up the rest of the lounge room and change my daughter's room around, and then I think I'll be pretty happy. So, I mean, look, if things are going to make you happy, if things are going to make you healthier, why not take this opportunity, this awful, awful situation that's gone on in the world, and try and make something positive out of it? And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm just trying to look at my habits, my rituals, substitute them, remove what I can, and reorganize things, change things around, make things more positive, you know, so that I can feel lighter. Because right now I just feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders. Not today, but like last week, you know, I was just feeling really flat, really down, and just really sad about the situation that's going on in the world. And in Australia, you know, it's awful, and it does make you feel powerless. And I suppose what I'm trying to get at is write a list down, right? Write everything down, and then look at what you can fix right now. You know, I started exercising too. I only did it once, and I got really sore for like 3 days. So I was like, I'll do it a bit later. I'll just do it. Oh, ow. So that's next on my list, because I'm doing pretty well with the smoking. So, you know, and this is another thing. I know that I tie smoking to sitting outside and having a conversation on the phone with my friend. So I stopped calling people, and well, you can't visit people anyway at the moment. So I stopped visiting people, and I stopped drinking. So these are some things, like, you've got to look at, what do you do with your habit? Let's say you binge eat. Let's say you drugs and alcohol, you know, those kinds of things. Cigarettes, I don't know, anger. I mean, what are the triggers? What ties you in? What can you remove? This environment is very, very different to our normal social environment, and a lot of these things are socially tied, you know. Sometimes eating is not socially tied. I like to do that alone. I'm like, nobody can see me, it's fine. So I think that's something as well. If you are alone and you are eating, maybe change your behavior. You're by yourself, so you know, nobody's there to judge you or see what you're doing. So I've just been eating these Werther's things, and they're like caramel lollies, really, really good. And they've helped me with patches. So something as well, tools, aids. So are there any aids that you can use to assist you with whatever that you want to do? I have a tiny car, so I had to do two loads to the dump, but it worked out all right because I was able to break everything up. But you know, I do have a friend who has a bigger car, so that's always something. Like, if you think that you can't manage to do this thing that you've got in your head that you really want to do, break it down into little goals, and then if you need help, ask for it, you know. So yeah, cool. All right guys, I'm gonna go. Excuse me. I have another video on budgeting, because I figure finances are really important right now, and it's stressful, and you know, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and a lot of people are on a very different income to what they were previously. So that's one thing I've written out the video, I've got to do it, and shame, that's another one I'm going to do. So I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you're all doing well. Okay, and guys, I hope you do something with this information, and hopefully you get some happiness from this awful situation that we're going through right now, because we can only control what's in our power. So, alright guys, take care, bye.